The Last Leaf. In a small district near Washington Square, there was a strange village called Greenwich Village, where many artists lived in their studios. Among them were Joanna, called Johnsy, and Sue. Johnsy and Sue had their studio at the top of a 3-story brick building. They had come from different parts of the world, one from California and the other from Maine. They had many tastes in common and so had decided to rent a studio together. As the seasons changed, in November, in the bitter cold, many artists in the village caught pneumonia. Unfortunately, Johnsy caught the dreadful disease. She lay on her bed, hardly able to move, looking through the small Dutch window panes at the wall of the next brick house. One morning, after checking on Johnsy, her doctor took Sue aside and talked to her. She will survive only if she really wants to live, but she looks as though she has lost all hope. She should have the want to live. That is her only chance. Is she disappointed about something? She was dreaming of painting the Bay of Naples someday. But now it seems like she's just awaiting her death, replied Sue softly. If my patients start thinking about their own funeral, the medicines will not work for them. You should get your friend to think about something positive. If you can get her to think about living instead of dying, then she has a chance. Sue wiped her tears, plastered a smile on her face, and went into Johnsy's room with her drawing board, humming a joyful song. Johnsy was lying with her face towards the window. Sue stopped humming, thinking that she was sleeping. As she started a pen and ink drawing, she heard a low sound from Johnsy's bed. She quickly went to the bedside. Johnsy was looking out of the window intently and counting. Sue listened closer. Johnsy was counting backward. 12, she said, and a while later, 11, and then after a while, 10, and then 9. Sue looked out of the window. She could not see anything other than the blank side of the neighboring brick house. Then she saw an old ivy vine that had climbed halfway up the brick wall, but was decayed at the roots. The autumn wind had blown most of its weak leaves away, until just a couple more were remaining. The almost bare vine clung to the bricks with just a few leaves left. What is it, dear? Sue asked. 6, whispered Johnsy. Now falling fast. I'm sure 3 days back there were almost 100 leaves. There goes another. There are only 5 leaves left now. Tell me, dear, 5 what? Leaves on the ivy vine. When the last one falls, I will go too. I know that. Didn't the doctor tell you? Oh dear, such nonsense. The wine has nothing to do with your getting well. The doctor this morning told me that your chances of getting well were, let me remember. Yes, he said the chances were 10 to 1. Let me give you some broth now. Be a dear. There goes the 5th one. Now only 4 more leaves to go. No, I don't want any broth. I want to see the last leaf fall. Then I'll go too. Johnsy dear. Sue spoke softly, close to her ear. Just keep your eyes closed and don't look out of the window. I must hand in this drawing by tomorrow. I need the light to draw. Otherwise, I would have drawn the shade down. Why don't you draw in the other room? I want to be with you, Sue said softly. Try to get some sleep. I have to call Berman up to be my model for the old hermit miner in my drawing. I'll come back in a minute. Old Berman lived on the ground floor beneath them. He was a painter. He was past 60 and had a long beard. That was the main feature of his impish body. Berman had had consistent failures as an artist. He talked about a masterpiece that he was going to paint soon, but had never got around to actually doing it. Sue found Berman smelling of gin in his dimly lighted den below. In one dark corner was a blank canvas on an easel that had been awaiting the brush strokes of the masterpiece that Berman was dreaming about for 25 years. She told him about Johnsy's fancy about wine and its falling leaves, and how she felt terrified that Johnsy would die when the last leaf fell from the wine. Old Berman, with his characteristic contempt for weakness in artists, shouted his contempt for such idiotic imaginings. "Was!" he cried. "Is there people in the world mid their foolishness to die?" Johnsy was asleep when they went upstairs. Sue pulled the shade down and went into the other room with Berman. In there, they looked out of the window fearfully at the ivy vine. They stared blankly at each other. There was just one leaf left. Sue could not sleep that night, and in the morning she found Johnsy staring at the drawn green shade. "Pull up the shade, I want to see." But lo, even after the beating rain and the horrendous gust of wind, there stood the one ivy leaf against the brick wall. It was the last one, still dark green near its stem, but its serrated edges oddly highlighted with a color of decay. It held on to the branch about 20 feet above the ground. "There is the last one," said Johnsy weakly. "I thought it would fall during the night. I heard the rain and the wind. I'm sure it will fall today, and I shall die at the same moment." "Dear, dear," whispered Sue, half sobbing. "You are not going to die, my dear. Think of me. What would I do? But there was no answer from Johnsy. The most lonely thing in all the world is a soul as it gets ready to go on its mysterious, far journey. One by one, her bonds to friendship and to earth were being loosened. The day progressed wearily, and even at dusk, they could see the lone ivy leaf bravely clinging to its stem against the brick wall. When night came, the wind blew again mercilessly, and the rain beat against the windows. When the new day dawned, Johnsy wanted the shade up again. She looked at the vine. The ivy leaf was still there. For a very long time, Johnsy lay on her bed, looking at the leaf. Then she called Sui, who was making chicken broth over the stove. Sudi, I have not been a good girl, said Johnsy. See, something has made that last leaf cling on there to show me how wicked I was. Wanting to die is bad. Please bring me some broth. No, first bring me a hand mirror. An hour later, she said, Sudi, someday I hope to paint the Bay of Naples. Sui waited for the doctor's visit. Things are looking up, said the doctor. With good nursing, your friend will live. Now I have to go to another case downstairs. Berman, his name is. Sort of an artist. Pneumonia too. The attack is acute as he is an old man. No hope for him, but I will take him to the hospital so that he is more comfortable. With new hope for Johnsy, Sui devoted her time to nursing and caring for her. The next day, the doctor said, she is out of danger now. Now all that is needed is good care and nutrition. That afternoon, Sui found Johnsy still on her bed, but happily knitting a scarf. Her eyes welled up. She went to her and hugged her. I have something to tell you, my dear, Sui said. It's about Mr. Berman. He died of pneumonia in the hospital today. He was sick only 2 days. The janitor found him in his room downstairs in terrible pain on the first day. He was icy cold and his clothes and shoes were very wet. They couldn't understand where he had been on such a terrible night. And then they found a lantern and a ladder, scattered brushes, and a palette with green and yellow colors mixed on it. And look out of the window, dear, at the last ivy leaf on the wall. Didn't you wonder why it never fluttered or moved when the wind blew? Ah, darling, it's Berman's masterpiece. He painted it there the night that the last leaf fell. Here are the vocabularies of some of the words from the story. I hope you all enjoyed learning. reading and listening to this beautiful story. Please subscribe to the channel, like and share with everyone. Thank you.